Who is the most dangerous Daedric Prince? That is the question we will be looking at today. We are going to look at the lore of every Daedric Prince, and at the end, we are going to put them in a tier list. This list is not necessarily about who is the most powerful, but about who has the highest potential of doing harm to you. With that said, let's begin. First up is Moolagbal. Moolagbal is the Daedric Prince of domination and enslavement, known across Tamriel as one of the most feared of all the princes. His name alone brings up images of chains, cruelty, and endless suffering. From the earliest ages, mortals have told stories of how Moolagbal delights in the torment of souls. He does not offer false hope or clever riddles like some of the other princes. He does not tempt with promises of knowledge or power that comes at a price. Moolagbal's gifts are chains, and his only promise is servitude. His realm of Cold Harbor is a twisted reflection of Nirn, shaped in mockery of mortal lands and built on the bones of the enslaved. The skies of Cold Harbor are always dark, and the air is filled with ash and sorrow. Ruined cities rot in stillness, watched over by the horrors Moolagbal has forged. It is said that Cold Harbor looks as Nirn would after Moolagbal's victory. There is no joy there, only the crushing weight of his rule. He is called the King of Rape by some, a title that speaks to the kind of violation he represents. He seeks not only to defeat or destroy, but to break and own, to turn the free will of others into his tool. He is the maker of vampires, those cursed to serve his hunger and spread his will. Vampirism is not just a disease in Elder Scrolls lore. It is a mark of Moolagbal's power over life and death. Those who carry it are forever tied to him, even if they resist his pull. His influence spreads through these cursed followers across Tamriel. His reach extends into mortal realms again and again. The most famous of his invasions is the Plain Meld, when Moolagbal tried to merge Cold Harbor with Nirn itself. This great attempt to enslave an entire world was only stopped through the combined strength of mortal heroes. Even so, his dark anchors, huge chains that fell from the sky, tore open the barrier between worlds and showed what Moolagbal's victory could look like. Entire cities fell, souls were stolen, and Nirn came closer to ruin than at almost any other time. Moolagbal is not subtle. His cruelty is open, and his power is felt in every part of his plots. He makes deals with the foolish or the desperate, but there is no kindness in his bargains. Those who seek his favor often find themselves tools for his larger plans. There are no happy endings with Moolagbal. His shrines and cults are feared across Tamriel, and those who serve him do so knowing they will one day be devoured by his hunger. His enemies are many, including other Daedric princes who see his hunger for power as a threat to the balance between realms. His hatred of Meridia, the Daedric Prince of Life and Light, is legendary. Where she seeks to protect the living from undeath and corruption, he spreads those very things. Their followers clash often, and their battles leave scars on the world. Moolagbal has no mercy, no soft side hidden beneath his evil. His goal is always domination. He sees mortals as things to be used and broken. His symbols, like the mace or the chains, speak to his nature. He does not need tricks. His power is in strength and the will to use it. His presence in the world is seen not only in vampires, but in the ruins he leaves behind. From forgotten shrines to broken cities touched by his dark anchors, Moolagbal's hand can be seen everywhere if you know where to look. His name is used in curses and prayers for protection. Few dare to speak of him openly unless they serve him. Moolagbal stands as one of the clearest examples of a Daedric prince who wishes true harm on Nirn. His plans are not always successful, but the damage they cause is felt long after. His cruelty shapes history, and his power is a warning of what can happen if mortals do not stand together against the darkness. Next is Meuns Deeon. Meuns Deeon is the Daedric Prince of destruction, change, revolution, energy, and ambition. He is one of the most feared and hated princes across all of Tamriel, and for good reason. Where Moolagbal seeks to dominate and enslave, Meuns Deeon seeks to burn, crush, and erase. His power is seen in the fires of war, in the collapse of kingdoms, and in the fall of great cities. His followers do not ask for mercy or power to rule, they ask for the chance to destroy what exists so something new can rise. Meuns Deeon's greatest act, known to most, is the Oblivion Crisis, when his cult, the Mythic Dawn, brought Tamriel to the edge of total ruin. His plan was simple in its goal, but massive in its danger. He wanted to tear down the barrier between Oblivion and Nirn and flood the mortal world with his armies. He wanted to walk Nirn as a god of destruction and reshape it into something that matched his vision. His cultists worked in secret for years, gathering power, studying forbidden magic, and waiting for the time to strike. When the time came, they assassinated Emperor Uriel Septim VII and his heirs, ending the Septim bloodline and shattering the dragon fires that protected Nirn. With the barrier weakened, Meuns Deeon's Oblivion Gates opened across the land. From these gates came Daedra in endless waves, burning farms, destroying towns, and turning the heartlands of Cyrodiil into a battlefield. The sky itself seemed to bleed, and the land shook under the weight of his invasion. The people of Tamriel fought back as best they could, but even the strongest warriors and mages struggled to close the gates and hold the line. Meuns Deeon's plan came closer to success than any other Daedric attempt to claim Nirn. In the end, only the sacrifice of Martin Septim, the last heir, and the power of Akatosh's bloodline were enough to stop him. Even then, Meuns Deeon stood in the imperial city, towering over the white gold tower, ready to finish what he started. Only when Martin transformed into the avatar of Akatosh and fought him in the heart of the city was Deeon banished back to oblivion. But this was not Meuns Deeon's first or last attempt to bring ruin. Across history, he has been blamed for countless disasters. Some scholars say he was behind the razing of Mournhold by Meuns' razor. Others claim he caused great floods, fires, and quakes that shattered parts of Tamriel. His cults, though scattered and hunted, continue to seek his favor, hoping to bring about new destruction in his name. Meuns Deeon's tools are often brute force, but his followers can be clever. The Mythic Dawn's long game in the Oblivion Crisis showed that patience can serve destruction as well as rage. They waited, they planned, and when they struck, they did so with terrible effect. His artifacts, like the razor, are feared for their deadly power. A single cut from the razor can end life in an instant, a fitting weapon for a prince who cares only for ruin. Unlike some princes, Meuns Deeon offers no comfort, no twisted kindness. His gifts are fire, blood, and collapse. His realm of the Deadlands is a place of endless storms, rivers of lava, and towers of jagged rock. It reflects his nature perfectly. There is no peace, no beauty, only the endless roar of destruction. When mortals make deals with Deeon, they rarely live to enjoy the reward. His promises are as deadly as his blade. He does not want to rule Nirn. He wants to break it and leave it in ashes. His hate is for the world itself, for order, for the works of gods and men. His name is spoken in fear, and his shrines are hidden in the darkest places. When his cults rise, they bring war and suffering in their wake. His influence is felt wherever chaos spreads and kingdoms fall. The legacy of Meuns Deeon is carved into the very history of Tamriel, a reminder that destruction is always waiting for its chance. Next is Botheia. Botheia is the Daedric Prince of plots, deceit, treachery, and the endless struggle for power. Among all the Daedra, Botheia stands out not for brute strength or sheer destruction, but for the way this prince manipulates the will of mortals and bends them toward betrayal and ambition. Where Meuns Deeon strikes with fire and sword, Botheia whispers in the ears of kings, warlords, and common folk alike, turning friend against friend and master against servant. Boetheia's followers believe in testing their strength through combat and deception. The prince teaches that only through struggle and strife can one rise above weakness. The faithful of Botheia are often found in hidden shrines or isolated camps where they train in combat and plot the downfall of the unworthy. Boetheia's lessons come through challenges, duels, and the act of overthrowing those who grow soft or corrupt. This prince encourages followers to take power through any means, no matter how bloody or cruel. Boethia's most famous act of betrayal was the consumption and replacement of Trinimac, the god of the ancient elves. It is said that Boethia tricked Trinimac, devoured him, and took on his form to spread new ideas to the Chimer, who later became the Dunmer. This act not only showed Boethia's power, but also shaped the future of an entire people. The Chimer worshipped Boethia as a guide and teacher, seeing the prince as a force that helped them rise through hardship. Boethia's influence does not stop with history. Across Tamriel, the prince's cults encourage plots that shake nations. Kings have fallen, generals have been betrayed, and alliances have crumbled because of Boethia's hand. In Skyrim, Boethia's followers stage brutal contests where only the strongest survive. These gatherings are not for glory, but to honor the prince's ideals. Mortals who seek Boethia's favor are often forced to betray their closest allies, proving their will to claim power no matter the cost. The prince's artifacts, such as the ebony mail, reflect this nature. The mail grants its wearer protection and the ability to strike unseen, rewarding those who survive through guile and skill. Boethia's realm, though rarely seen by mortals, is said to be a place of endless battle, where the strong rise and the weak fall. This fits the prince's desire for constant challenge and change. There is no peace, only the endless test of strength. Boethia does not aim to destroy Tamriel outright like Meuns Deeon, nor does the prince seek to enslave like Moolagbal. The danger comes from within, from the seeds of betrayal sown in the hearts of mortals. Where Boethia walks, trust dies, and ambition takes root. The chaos caused by Boethia's schemes is often subtle at first, a whisper or a promise, but it grows until it topples thrones and sets brother against brother. Boethia's cults are among the most dangerous because they do not always announce their presence. They work in secret, striking when their enemies least expect it. Those who serve Boethia do so with the hope that they will rise above all others, but many fall to the same treachery they practice. The prince rewards strength, but only for as long as it lasts. In the end, Boethia teaches that power is fleeting and must be claimed again and again through conflict. This cycle of rise and fall makes Boethia a source of endless strife across Tamriel, a shadow behind many of its bloodiest wars and most shocking betrayals. Next is Mfala. Mfala is the Daedric Prince of secrets, lies, murder, and plots, and stands as one of the most dangerous forces in Tamriel, not because of open destruction, but because of quiet influence. Where Boethia drives mortals to betray and battle each other through strength and ambition, Mfala works in shadows, weaving schemes that can take years or centuries to bear fruit. Mfala's power is in manipulation, in the slow, silent corruption of trust and the destruction of bonds that hold families, cities, and nations together. Mfala is seen as the web spinner, always planning, always watching, and always waiting for the right moment to strike. Mortals who fall under Mfala's influence often do so without realizing it, drawn into traps of lies and secrets that lead them to betray even those they love. The prince teaches that information is power, and that knowing the right thing at the right time can destroy even the greatest king. Mfala's followers often work alone or in small, hidden groups, acting as spies, assassins, and saboteurs. Their loyalty is to their own gain and to Mfala's endless game of secrets. There is no open worship as with some other Daedra. Instead, Mfala's name is whispered in dark corners where deals are struck and plots are made. Mfala's hand is seen in the founding of the Moraktong, the legal assassins of Morrowind, who claim the prince as their guide. Through them, Mfala shaped the politics of the region, ending threats and securing power through murder that was hidden behind law. The prince's lessons are harsh. They teach that truth is a tool to be used or ignored as needed, and that mercy is a weakness. Mfala's artifacts reflect this nature. The ebony blade, for example, is a weapon that grows stronger through betrayal. It rewards the user for ending those who trust them, showing the prince's delight in treachery. The danger of Mfala is not in armies or fire, but in the silent destruction of the ties that bind mortals together. Kingdoms fall, not because of great wars, but because a single trusted advisor was turned, or because a secret was shared at the right moment to spark ruin. Mfala's realm is unknown to most mortals, hidden and secret like the prince. What is known is that Mfala values plots that end with precision and cruelty, not senseless destruction. The prince's cults act as blades in the dark, their presence felt only when it is too late. Where Botheia tests strength in open conflict, Mfala tests patience and skill in keeping secrets and using them to gain power. The prince's influence reaches into the courts of emperors and the halls of the lowliest guilds. Mfala's gifts are the tools of the spy, the poisoner, and the traitor. The prince's followers spread lies that can start wars or end them, all at the right time to serve hidden aims. Mfala teaches that victory comes not from strength, but from knowing where to strike and when. This makes the prince one of the most dangerous Daedra, for no one can be sure where Mfala's plots begin or end, or who may be serving the prince's will without knowing it. The webs Mfala weaves can last for ages, and their effects can change the fate of entire empires. Every whisper, every lie, and every hidden dagger serves the prince's endless hunger for secrets and control. Next is Shiogath. Shiogath is known as the Daedric Prince of Madness, a being whose power is rooted in chaos, unpredictability, and the destruction of reason itself. His influence can be found across Tamriel, in the broken minds of kings, in the fall of cities that tore themselves apart through paranoia and distrust, and in the stories of those who thought they could bargain with him and ended up losing everything. Unlike other Daedric princes who seek power through conquest or dominion, Shiogath wages war against the mind, against order itself. His realm, the Shivering Isles, is a reflection of this. It is split into two regions, Mania and Dementia. Mania appears bright and full of life at first glance, with vivid colors and grand displays, but beneath that beauty lies instability, obsession, and danger. Dementia, on the other hand, is dark and oppressive, filled with fear, sorrow, and decay. Both regions show two sides of madness, and both serve to trap the unwary in Shiogath's endless games. The Grey March is the cycle that defines Shiogath's existence. At the end of each era in his realm, Jigalag, the Daedric Prince of Order, emerges. Jigalag was once a powerful prince who sought to bring perfect order to oblivion, but the other princes cursed him out of fear of his power, transforming him into Shiogath. During the Grey Mark, Jigalag returns to destroy the Shivering Isles and sweep away the madness, but when it ends, he is forced back into the shape of Shiogath. This endless cycle of destruction and rebirth defines the Prince of Madness and shows how his power is tied to a struggle between chaos and law. In the events of the Oblivion Shivering Isles expansion, a mortal hero breaks this cycle. The hero of Kuoch, after aiding Shiogath and battling the forces of order, takes the mantle of Shiogath and ends Jigalag's curse, freeing the Prince of Order to rule his own domain. This act leaves the question of what Shiogath truly is from that point on, as the hero assumes his place and the original prince is freed. Shiogath's power extends beyond his realm. His artifacts, like the Wabbajack, symbolize his unpredictable nature. The Wabbajack can turn enemies into harmless creatures, into deadly monsters, or into inanimate objects with a single strike. Every use is a gamble, just like dealing with the prince himself. Shiogath also offers the Staff of Shiogath and other tools that embody madness, often granting great power at great cost. Mortals who seek his favor find themselves drawn into tasks that seem nonsensical but serve to spread his influence. His followers are as strange as their master. The citizens of the Shivering Isles, both golden saints and dark seducers, serve him not out of love but out of duty or compulsion, caught in the web of his power. The mortal cults that worship him often descend into madness themselves, their rituals and beliefs twisted reflections of their prince's nature. Across Tamriel, Shiogath's name is spoken with both fear and dark humor. He is a trickster, but a dangerous one, capable of destroying minds and realities alike. His appearances in Tamriel are rare, but unforgettable. In Morrowind, he tasks the Nerevarine with a bizarre quest involving a giant netch and a festival of madness. In Skyrim, he appears in the mind of Pelagius Septim III, dragging the Dragonborn into a nightmare where madness and reality blend. Shiogath's influence can be subtle or direct, but it always leaves a mark. The threat he poses is not one of armies or invasions, but of a slow spread of chaos that can undo the greatest of empires and the strongest of wills. He is not bound by the rules of mortals or even of the other princes, making him one of the most dangerous beings in the Elder Scrolls universe. His madness is not random. It is a force that shapes the world in ways no one can predict, turning the proud into fools, the wise into madmen, and order into ruin without lifting a finger. This makes Shiogath a figure of terror and fascination, a prince whose power lies not in destruction, but in the unraveling of everything that mortals hold certain. Next is Vermina. Vermina is the Daedric Prince of nightmares and fear, known for her subtle but devastating influence over mortal minds. Unlike some of the more openly destructive princes, Vermina works through dreams, invading the minds of sleeping mortals to spread terror and despair. Her power lies in twisting the unconscious thoughts of individuals, turning their fears into vivid nightmares that can haunt them for days or even years. In Tamriel, Vermina's presence is felt most strongly when her cults appear, composed of mortals who worship her to gain control over others' dreams, or to protect themselves from the nightmares she sends. These followers often seek forbidden knowledge or ways to manipulate sleep and memory, performing rituals that involve sleep deprivation, trance states, and offerings to gain favor. Vermina's realm, known as Quagmire, reflects her domain over the dream world and the thin line between sleep and waking life. It is a murky, shifting place filled with twisted landscapes and creatures born of nightmare. Mortals who venture there risk being trapped in endless nightmares or losing themselves to madness. The prince's artifacts, such as the Skull of Corruption, allow wielders to manipulate minds and induce terrifying visions. Through these items, Vermina's influence extends beyond her realm, affecting both heroes and villains in Tamriel. Stories of Vermina's interference often involve mysterious illnesses, madness, or unexplained terror, afflicting individuals or entire villages. She is known to grant curses that bring recurring nightmares, sleepwalking, or even permanent fear that weakens victims' resolve. Vermina's power also manifests in more indirect ways. She inspires fear that can prevent armies from marching, rulers from sleeping, and communities from thriving. This slow erosion of strength and will makes her a unique threat compared to the more direct violence of other princes. While Vermina rarely appears openly to mortals, her influence is undeniable. She can possess dreams and sometimes takes the form of a shadowy figure or a whisper in the dark. Her messages are cryptic, often delivered through visions or symbols that confuse and terrify those who see them. In Morrowind, Vermina's cult is a presence in the darker corners of the province, feared for their ability to curse and haunt enemies. Her role in Elder Scrolls history is less about outright war and more about quiet manipulation, using fear as a weapon to weaken and control. Though she may not raise armies or lay waste to cities, the mental toll she takes is profound. Vermina's power serves as a reminder that not all threats come with swords and fire. Some come from the shadows within our own minds. The subtlety of her influence makes her dangerous because it can go unnoticed until it's too late. Mortals under her curse often find themselves isolated, tormented by nightmares they cannot escape, and driven to despair or madness. This slow breakdown can destroy even the strongest wills and change the course of lives quietly but irreversibly. Unlike more flamboyant Daedric princes, Vermina's work is behind the scenes but no less impactful. Her dominion over fear and dreams gives her power over the unseen realms of the mind, a battlefield as important as any physical war. Those who seek her favor must be willing to risk their sanity and confront the darkest parts of their own selves. Her cultists are often secretive and feared, and her rituals involve personal sacrifice and pain, reflecting the brutal nature of nightmares. Vermina's legacy in the Elder Scrolls world is one of dread and caution. She reminds mortals that even in sleep, they are not safe, and the mind can be as dangerous a place as any battlefield. Her influence shapes stories of haunted warriors, cursed villages, and heroes who must face their own fears as much as their enemies. Though Vermina may not command armies or wield raw destructive power like some Daedric princes, her mastery of fear and nightmares makes her a uniquely dangerous figure in Tamriel. The terror she spreads weakens the minds and spirits of mortals, making them vulnerable to other dangers. Her presence is a constant threat in the background of the world's struggles, a whisper that can turn hope into despair. Next is Hermes Mora. Hermes Mora is the Daedric Prince of Knowledge, a mysterious and dark figure who embodies the pursuit of hidden truths and forbidden secrets. His realm, Apocrypha, is a vast and shadowy library filled with endless shelves of ancient tomes, scrolls, and memories that contain the sum of all knowledge, much of it dangerous or maddening to mortals. Unlike other princes who use brute force or cunning to influence the world, Hermes Mora's power lies in information and the secrets he controls. Mortals who seek him out often crave the knowledge that could grant them great power, but they risk losing their sanity or even their souls in the process. His influence reaches through dreams, visions, and arcane relics, tempting mortals to delve into mysteries best left untouched. Many of the spells, rituals, and magical practices in Tamriel are said to originate from his knowledge, passed down through cryptic books and whispered teachings. His followers include scholars, mages, and seekers of forbidden lore, who trade their sanity for glimpses into the future or secrets of the past. Hermes Mora's appearance is often described as a mass of twisting tentacles and eyes, a form that reflects his unknowable nature and the vast scope of his domain. Unlike other Daedric princes who revel in chaos or domination, he is a more neutral figure, focused on the accumulation and guarding of knowledge itself. This makes him both feared and respected by other Daedra and mortals alike. His gifts are double-edged, offering insight and power at the cost of obsession and madness. His role in Elder Scrolls lore is central to many stories, involving ancient artifacts, lost histories, and forbidden magics. The quests involving Hermes Mora often challenge mortals to confront the dangers of unchecked curiosity and the price of forbidden knowledge. His influence is not limited to any single place. Instead, it spreads through secret texts and visions that can reach anyone willing to seek him out. Hermes Mora's power also extends to the manipulation of fate and memory, as he controls not just what is known, but what is remembered or forgotten. This makes him a master over the very fabric of history and destiny, shaping events from behind the scenes. His realm, Apocrypha, is described as a dark, endless ocean of black water with islands of knowledge, where only those who accept the price can navigate safely. The creatures and spirits that dwell there reflect the enigmatic and often dangerous nature of the knowledge Hermes Mora holds. Mortals who bargain with him may gain access to incredible power, such as the ability to master the voice or uncover secrets of the dragons, but these gifts often come with a steep cost. His connection to other Daedric princes is complex. While some see him as an ally or rival, others avoid him because his knowledge threatens their own schemes. Hermes Mora's nature as a keeper of knowledge means he rarely interferes directly in mortal politics or warfare, but shapes outcomes through secrets and influence. His relationship with the Dragonborn, particularly in their quest to learn powerful shouts and spells, highlights his importance in the balance of power in Tamriel. The presence of his artifacts, such as the Ogma Infinium, offers mortals the chance to glimpse forbidden knowledge, but also risks drawing them into his web. Scholars debate whether Hermes Mora is a force of order or chaos, but it's clear that his domain transcends simple categorization. He is neither good nor evil, but an eternal seeker and guardian of secrets that mortals were never meant to know. His influence warns of the dangers inherent in the thirst for knowledge and the costs that come with uncovering the universe's deepest mysteries. Throughout Tamriel's history, many have sought his favor or fallen victim to his bargains, shaping the course of events through lost knowledge or cursed power. Hermes Mora remains one of the most enigmatic and compelling Daedric princes, embodying the fine line between wisdom and madness. His stories highlight the consequences of seeking truths beyond mortal comprehension and the eternal allure of the unknown. As the Keeper of Secrets, his role is essential to understanding many of the mysteries that define Tamriel's past and future. Mortals who dare to delve into Apocrypha or accept his gifts must be prepared for the price they will pay in sanity, soul, or fate. Hermes Mora's presence is a constant reminder that some knowledge is better left hidden and that the quest for understanding can lead to both greatness and ruin. His influence permeates the magical, political, and spiritual fabric of Tamriel, making him a uniquely dangerous force despite his subtle methods. In the endless ocean of knowledge he commands, few come away unchanged, marking Hermes Mora as a Daedric prince whose power is as profound as it is terrifying. Next is Malikath. Malikath is the Daedric prince known as the Prince of the Spurned, a figure born from betrayal and cast out by the other gods. He is the guardian of outcasts, those who have been rejected by society or faced harsh judgment, especially the orcs, who revere him as their divine protector. Unlike other Daedric princes who seek to dominate or manipulate all mortals, Malikath's power is focused on defending those who are cast aside and punishing betrayal and dishonor. His realm, known as the Ashpit, is a harsh and unforgiving place reflecting the rough lives of his followers. Malikath's nature is one of strength and vengeance rather than subtlety or grand schemes. He embodies the brutal justice meted out to those who betray their kin or break sacred oaths. Mortals who worship Malikath often seek his aid for protection against enemies or to gain strength to endure hardship. His followers are known for their fierce loyalty and warrior spirit, often embracing a harsh code of honor. The prince's symbol is the cursed Daedric artifact, the Volendrung, a massive warhammer said to carry Malikath's wrath. This weapon is both feared and revered, known to grant incredible power to those worthy enough to wield it. Malikath's influence is strongest among the orcs, shaping their culture, traditions, and identity as a people defined by resilience and defiance against rejection. His teachings emphasize endurance, loyalty, and revenge, making him a figure of both fear and respect among mortals. While he does not seek to conquer or destroy entire realms like some Daedric princes, Malikath's wrath can be devastating to those who cross him or harm his followers. His role in Tamriel's mythology is often one of the darker, more tragic figures, representing the pain of exile and the strength found in adversity. Malikath's history involves a deep betrayal. He was once a member of the Aedra, but was cast out, leading to his role as the protector of those similarly spurned. This backstory sets him apart from other princes who often revel in chaos or order. Malikath's power stems from his status as an outsider. His relationships with other Daedric princes vary. Some respect his strength, while others scorn him for his exile. Malikath's presence is less about universal danger and more about targeted vengeance and protection, making him a more focused but no less powerful force. His influence can be seen in the harsh laws and brutal justice meted out in orc strongholds, where betrayal is met with swift retribution. Mortals who seek to invoke Malikath's favor often undergo rituals that emphasize strength and endurance, reflecting his warrior ethos. His followers are known for their fierce battles and willingness to face overwhelming odds, trusting in their patron's protection. In Tamriel's history, Malikath's role is tied to the struggles of the orcs and other outcasts, offering a divine figure who champions the rejected and fights against injustice. Though not as universally feared as some princes, his power within his sphere is absolute and deeply felt. Malikath's story is one of pain, strength, and loyalty, a reminder that even those cast aside can wield great power and demand respect. His character challenges the notion of power by focusing on protection rather than domination, making him unique among the Daedric princes. Mortals who disrespect or betray Malikath's followers face dire consequences, as his vengeance is swift and brutal. His worshippers maintain strict codes of conduct to stay in his favor and avoid his wrath. The prince's symbols and artifacts are feared relics, carrying curses and blessings depending on the wielder's worthiness. Malikath's realm reflects his nature, a harsh wilderness, where only the strong survive, embodying the harsh realities faced by his followers. His influence is often underestimated by outsiders, but is a powerful force within the lives of those devoted to him. The legacy of Malikath and Tamriel is one of endurance, fierce loyalty, and the harsh justice meted out to the betrayed and outcast. His presence in lore and stories serves as a reminder that strength and honor can arise from pain and rejection. Mortals who understand Malikath's nature know that he is not a prince to be taken lightly, but one who demands respect and loyalty in return for protection and strength. Next is Meridia. Meridia is the Daedric Prince of life and energy, standing apart from many of her fellow princes by opposing the undead and all forms of necromancy. Her hatred for the undead is fierce, making her one of the fiercest enemies of necromancers who seek to bend the dead to their will. Unlike princes who thrive on chaos, domination, or secrets, Meridia's focus is clear. She wants to cleanse the world of undead corruption and bring light to places tainted by death and decay. Her realm, the Colored Rooms, is said to be a place of vibrant, shifting colors and pure energy, far removed from the dark and twisted realms of other Daedra. Meridia often calls upon mortals to act as her champions, tasks that typically involve hunting down and destroying undead creatures and their masters. One of her most famous artifacts, the Dawnbreaker, is a sword said to burn the undead and disrupt necromantic magic, reflecting her dedication to purging death's unnatural influence. While Meridia does not seek to conquer entire realms or enslave mortals, her power is formidable against those who wield dark magic or summon the dead. She is often seen as a force of righteous fury, and her followers are typically those who fight against evil necromancy or seek to bring light where there is darkness. Meridia's involvement in Tamriel's history includes lending aid to mortals who battle the undead scourge, often appearing through visions or sending agents to carry out her will. Her disdain for necromancy places her in opposition to many other Daedric princes, who either tolerate or embrace death and decay as part of their domains. Despite her righteous cause, Meridia's power is not without danger. Mortals who take up her cause often find themselves in deadly conflicts with powerful necromancers and undead horrors. Her realm's ever-changing and luminous nature is unlike the typical Daedric plane, offering a stark contrast to the gloomy or chaotic realms of her peers. Meridia's followers often include paladins, knights, and others devoted to combating darkness and death, drawing strength from her light and energy. The prince's role as an enemy of undeath makes her crucial in many conflicts throughout Tamriel's history, where undead threats have risen to plague the living. Meridia's power manifests in cleansing light and energetic forces that can burn away corruption and restore vitality. Her artifacts, temples, and rituals focus on purification and the rejection of dark magic, reinforcing her position as a guardian against the undead. Mortals who invoke Meridia's favor often do so to gain protection from necromantic curses or to find strength in their fight against dark forces. While her influence is more limited in scope compared to princes who meddle in politics or chaos, her impact is profound in the realm of life, death, and the natural order. Meridia's stance against undeath aligns her with the forces of life, but her methods can be harsh and unforgiving to those who cross her or stand in the way of her mission. Her lore highlights the ongoing battle in Tamriel between life and death, light and darkness, and the struggle to maintain balance against creeping corruption. Meridia is a reminder that not all Daedric princes seek destruction or chaos. Some, like her, pursue a focused purpose that can bring hope as well as terror. Her history is intertwined with mortals who have taken up her cause, often facing grave danger and making great sacrifices to fight the undead scourge. The prince's influence reaches through visions, artifacts, and the deeds of her champions, leaving a mark on Tamriel's ongoing story of conflict and survival. Despite her benevolent focus, Meridia is still a Daedric prince, and her motives are ultimately beyond mortal understanding, adding to her mysterious and dangerous nature. Mortals who ally with Meridia must be prepared to face powerful enemies and accept the burdens of battling the undead in her name. Her presence in Elder Scrolls lore serves as a beacon of light against the shadow of necromancy and the undead, highlighting a unique role among the Daedric princes. Next is Azura. Azura is the Daedric Prince of Dusk and Dawn, holding a unique place among the Daedra for her role as both a guide and a bringer of fate. Her influence is deeply felt throughout Tamriel, especially among the Dunmer, whose transformation from Chimer to Dark Elves is tied to her curse after the Tribunal's betrayal. Azura's nature is complex. She can be kind and protective to those who honor her, but also fiercely vengeful toward those who cross her. Mortals often seek her favor through rituals at her shrines, hoping for guidance, visions, or blessings that can alter their destiny. She is known for shaping history in subtle but profound ways, sometimes changing the course of events through dreams and portents. Azura's realm is mysterious, often described as a twilight space that balances light and shadow, reflecting her dual aspects. Her followers respect her as a protector of prophecy and the natural order of change between endings and beginnings. One of her most famous artifacts, the Azura's Star, is a powerful soul gem that can capture souls, symbolizing her dominion over fate and life cycles. Despite her more benevolent role compared to some Daedra, Azura remains a figure of power whose actions can be unpredictable and absolute. She has a reputation for demanding respect and punishing arrogance or disrespect severely, demonstrating that her mercy is not guaranteed. The curse she placed on the Chimer reshaped their identity and destiny, marking her as a key figure in Dunmer culture and history. Azura's relationship with mortals is defined by a mixture of guidance and harsh justice, showing her commitment to balance between mercy and punishment. Her presence in Tamrielic myths is central to stories of transformation, prophecy, and the struggle between fate and free will. She occasionally intervenes in mortal affairs, often through dreams or cryptic messages, influencing heroes and rulers alike. Her dual nature means she is worshipped with both reverence and caution, as her blessings can come with heavy costs. Azura's influence is also felt in events beyond Morrowind, affecting various cultures that acknowledge her power over twilight and change. She is seen as a guardian of cycles, representing the inevitable transitions that shape life and history. Azura's lore highlights the delicate balance between hope and despair, light and shadow, beginnings and endings. Mortals who seek her favor often embark on quests or trials that test their resolve and understanding of fate. Her role in Elder Scrolls history is marked by significant changes and powerful curses that have shaped entire peoples and their cultures. Despite her status as a Daedric prince, Azura is often viewed more sympathetically than others, though her power and potential for wrath remain undeniable. Her enduring presence in the lore reminds players that the forces of change and destiny are as vital as those of chaos or order in Tamriel's complex world. Azura continues to be a subject of fascination for players and scholars alike, with her stories blending mystery, power, and the deep influence of fate. Next is Hercen. Hercen is the Daedric Prince of the Hunt, known for his role as the master of the chase and predator. Unlike many other princes who seek domination or destruction, Hercen's focus lies on the thrill and challenge of the hunt itself. His realm, the Hunting Grounds, is a wild and ever-changing landscape where the greatest hunters and prey face off in tests of skill and survival. Hercen is closely linked to werbeasts, lycanthropes, who are often seen as both cursed and blessed by him. He is known to grant the gift of lycanthropy to mortals, turning them into werewolves, wereboars, or werebears, binding them to the eternal hunt. This gift carries both power and danger, as those who accept it gain strength but also risk losing themselves to the beast within. Hercen's hunts are not merely games, they are sacred rituals where strength, cunning, and endurance are tested. Mortals who seek him often do so for the chance to prove themselves, or to gain his favor by surviving his deadly challenges. In Tamriel, Hercen's worshippers include hunters, warriors, and those who respect the natural order of predator and prey. They perform rituals that honor the hunt, often asking for strength, speed, and skill. These rituals sometimes involve sacrifices or offerings of hunted beasts. While Hercen is not a prince who seeks to conquer realms or enslave souls, his influence can be deadly and personal. His hunts can lead to death or transformation, and his followers may become obsessed with the pursuit of prey, sometimes at great cost. Hercen's role in Tamriel's history is marked by moments where his hunts affected major events. The hunt he arranged for the huntress Azura, leading to the creation of the werewolf curse, is one such story. His contests with other Daedric princes have also shaped events, showing that even among divine beings, competition and challenge are key themes. Hercene's power is linked to nature's wild and untamed side, standing apart from princes who represent chaos, domination, or knowledge. He embodies the raw force of survival and the eternal cycle of life and death in the wild. Mortals who encounter Hercene or his servants often face trials that test their limits, forcing them to confront fears, instincts, and their place in the natural order. His gifts come with a price, and few who accept the werebeast's curse can fully escape its influence. Hercene's relationship with mortals is complex. He values honor and skill, but does not spare those who fail or disrespect the hunt. His actions may seem cruel, but follow a strict code tied to the primal laws of predator and prey. The prince of the hunt's artifacts, like the Savior's Hide, grant powerful abilities related to stealth and survival, making them prized by hunters and warriors alike. These items reflect his domain over the wilderness and the deadly skills needed to survive it. Hercene's presence is felt in various parts of Tamriel, especially in wild and remote regions where the balance between hunter and hunted remains strong. His influence extends to folklore, legends, and the fears of those who live close to the wilderness. Despite his sometimes terrifying nature, Hercen is not seen as universally evil. His role is natural and necessary, representing forces beyond human control. This makes him unique among the Daedric princes, as his power centers on respect for nature's laws rather than domination or destruction. Hercen's myths often emphasize the challenge of the hunt as a form of divine trial, pushing mortals to grow stronger or face extinction. His realm and followers highlight the importance of balance in nature, even as death stalks all creatures. Stories of his hunts remind mortals that survival depends on skill, cunning, and respect for the wild forces that govern life. Hercen's relationship with other Daedric princes varies, sometimes cooperative and other times competitive, but always focused on his central theme of the hunt and natural law. His influence shapes many who walk between worlds, between man and beast, and his legacy is woven into the fabric of Tamriel's wilderness. He stands as a reminder that danger in the Elder Scrolls world comes not only from war and magic, but also from the primal forces of nature itself. Hercen's story is one of wild power, eternal challenge, and the never-ending dance between hunter and prey. Mortals who seek him do so, knowing they might gain great power, but also risk losing their humanity. This balance of gift and curse defines Hercen's place among the Daedric princes as a force that tests and shapes the destiny of those who dare to face the hunt. Next is Namira. Namira is the Daedric prince of decay and darkness, ruling over all things that rot, spoil, and wither. She embodies the natural process of decay, but also the fear and taboo around death and corruption. Namira's influence spreads through filth, disease, and the dark places where light cannot reach. Her realm is one of shadows, crawling with vermin and surrounded by sickness. Mortals who worship Namira often seek power over death and decay, asking for her favor to survive or to command the forces of corruption. Her followers include those who live on society's edges, outcasts, cannibals, and those who embrace the dark cycles of life and death. Namira's rituals are grim and secretive, sometimes involving taboo acts that shock others, but deepen her connection to the primal forces of rot. She is dangerous because she corrupts both body and soul, slowly breaking down what makes mortals strong. Disease is her weapon, and the spread of sickness often marks her influence. Unlike other princes who seek to conquer or control through power or magic, Namira's power lies in the slow, creeping corruption that undermines life itself. Her worshippers may gain a natural resilience to poisons and disease, but they often become marked by the darkness they embrace. Namira's role in Tamriel's history is subtle but profound. Tales speak of her influence in plagues and dark times when death was close. She represents the inevitability of decay and the forgotten, the parts of life that most avoid facing. Her power challenges mortals to accept death's role in the cycle of existence or to fight against it and risk corruption. Her connection to darkness is both physical and spiritual, as she governs the places where light fails and fear thrives. Namira's followers sometimes engage in cannibalism, seeing it as a sacred act that binds them to the cycle of decay and rebirth. This practice marks them as outsiders and deepens their bond with the Prince of Darkness. Her artifacts, such as the Ring of Namira, offer power over life and death, but come with heavy costs that test the bearer's will and soul. Namira's influence is felt in many dark corners of Tamriel, especially where disease and death are common. Her presence in folklore warns of places and times when corruption spreads unchecked. She is feared not because she conquers lands, but because her power erodes the foundations of life itself. Namira's relationship with other Daedric princes varies, sometimes cooperative with those who share a darker vision, and other times isolated because of her focus on decay and darkness. She stands apart as a force that is less about direct destruction and more about the slow undoing of flesh and spirit. Mortals who encounter Namira or her servants face the risk of slow corruption, spiritual decay, and losing themselves to the darkness they once feared. This makes her one of the most insidious and terrifying of the princes. Her story is a reminder that danger in Tamriel comes not only from war and magic, but also from the natural and supernatural forces of decay that no one can fully escape. Namira's role as Prince of Decay challenges mortals to confront death and corruption on a personal and societal level. Her power shows that even in destruction there is a cycle, and embracing or resisting that cycle shapes one's fate. Mortals who seek Namira's favor do so knowing they might gain strange powers, but also risk losing everything that makes them human. This balance between gift and curse defines Namira's place among the Daedric princes as a dark, creeping force that shapes life through decay and shadow. Next is Sanguin. Sanguin is a Daedric prince of revelry, whose domain centers on excess, indulgence, and unrestrained celebration. Known for inspiring wild parties and secret gatherings, he tempts mortals to abandon caution and embrace their basest desires. Unlike some princes who seek dominion through war or manipulation, Sanguin's influence spreads through pleasure and chaos, born from lack of restraint. His presence promises joy and freedom, but often leads to downfall, as those who follow him risk losing themselves to addiction and ruin. His worshippers include revelers, bards, and those who crave escape from the burdens of life through drink, lust, and festivity. These followers perform raucous ceremonies that involve feasting, drinking, and carousing, binding them to Sanguin's realm where time warps and normal rules cease to apply. Though he does not command armies or wreck kingdoms directly, his power lies in breaking the spirits and wills of mortals, slowly corroding their self-control and dragging them into cycles of self-destruction. Sanguin's realm is described as a twisted carnival, filled with endless nights of laughter that conceal sorrow and despair beneath. Mortals drawn to him may find fleeting relief from their troubles, but the gifts come with hidden chains that trap them deeper in his influence. Tales tell of entire towns undone by unending festivals, where joy morphs into tragedy as revelers succumb to the darkest forms of excess. Sanguin's artifacts, like the rueful axe, represent the sharp edge of his domain, a mix of merriment and menace. These items grant great power, but often carry curses that twist the fate of their wielders. In Tamriel's history, Sanguin's influence is often subtle but pervasive, affecting individuals and communities by undermining order and responsibility. He is less a force of open destruction and more a master of temptation, spreading ruin through corrupted desire. His relationships with other Daedric princes are complicated. While his joyous chaos contrasts with their darker motives, his ability to weaken mortal resolve indirectly supports their schemes. Sanguin's cult spreads stories and songs that glorify revelry and freedom but omit the dangers hidden within. Mortals under his sway frequently face internal battles, torn between the thrill of excess and the consequences that follow. His role in the wider mythos reminds players that not all threats come from force. Sometimes the deadliest power is the slow decay of discipline and will. Sanguin's influence challenges mortals to confront their vulnerabilities to temptation and excess, showing how pleasures that seem harmless can lead to devastating outcomes. His cults practice rituals that blur the lines between celebration and self-destruction, engaging in acts that trap participants in cycles of addiction. These rituals often involve strange dances, intoxicating drinks, and the weaving of spells that bind the soul to his chaotic realm. Even those who walk away from Sanguin's embrace carry marks of his power, facing lingering urges that shape their lives unpredictably. His legends paint him as a figure who embodies the dangers of uncontrolled freedom and the high cost of giving in to every whim. Mortals who serve Sanguin must tread carefully, for the path of revelry leads through shadows that swallow even the brightest lights. His influence seeps into everyday life, from whispered songs to chance encounters that push mortals toward choices they might later regret. Sanguin's realm exists not just in oblivion, but within the hearts of those who lose themselves in excess. Stories of his followers serve as warnings and reminders that joy without balance can become a weapon turned inward. Among the Daedric princes, Sanguin holds a unique place as both a symbol of freedom and a harbinger of downfall. His power operates quietly but with lasting effect, making him a subtle yet formidable presence in Tamriel's spiritual landscape. Players encountering Sanguin find a figure who embodies the thrill and peril of indulgence, whose realm is as much about the mind as the body. His legacy is one of endless night, wild laughter, and the sharp sting of regret that follows when the revel ends. Through Sanguin, the dangers of excess and the costs of temptation come alive, making him a compelling and dangerous figure among the Daedra. Next is Perate. Perate is the Daedric Prince of Pestilence, known for spreading plagues, disease, and decay across Tamriel. Though less famous than some other princes, his influence quietly weaves through the world's history, causing suffering on a scale that often goes unnoticed by mortals until it's too late. Unlike the flashy chaos of princes like Meuns Deeon or the direct cruelty of Moolagbal, Periate's danger lies in subtlety and persistence. He governs the natural cycle of rot and infection, overseeing the diseases that shape life and death in the mortal realm. His realm in Oblivion is a strange and misty place filled with swamps and decay, reflecting his connection to pestilence and natural corruption. Followers of Perate often take the form of cultists who seek to harness the power of disease, sometimes believing that through sickness they can purify or reshape the world. His worship is rare and often secretive, associated with those who deal in poisons or plague. Periate's artifacts and symbols are connected to serpents and insects, creatures commonly linked with disease and death. He is sometimes called the Taskmaster, overseeing the enforcement of natural order through decay. While not as openly violent as other Daedric princes, Periate's role is essential in maintaining the balance of life and death, ensuring that pestilence serves as a force of nature. Throughout Tamriel's history, outbreaks of plague and mysterious illnesses are often attributed to Periate's will or influence, reminding mortals of their vulnerability. Unlike princes who seek conquest or worship, Periate's power is more biological and environmental, spreading quietly and indiscriminately. His role shows that not all threats to mortals come from war or magic. Some come from the natural processes that keep the world in check. Stories speak of his servants spreading sickness in towns, his curses manifesting as outbreaks, and his subtle hand guiding the fate of populations through disease. Periate is sometimes underestimated because he doesn't command armies or cause grand disasters, but his impact is no less deadly. His influence on mortality and health makes him a constant, invisible threat that shapes the lives of all living creatures. His cults are often linked to dark alchemy and forbidden medicines, seeking to control or unleash the forces of pestilence. These groups might work in secret, spreading diseases for their own purposes or attempting to bargain with Periate for power. Periate's nature connects him deeply to the cycle of death, decay, and rebirth, reflecting the unavoidable truths of the mortal experience. Mortals who fall under his influence risk not only physical illness but also spiritual corruption, as they become part of the endless cycle of life and decay. His realm reflects this duality, combining beauty and horror in landscapes that are both vibrant and toxic. Unlike the chaos of Shiogath or the destruction of Meuns Deeon, Periate's danger is persistent and systemic, slowly eroding life through natural but deadly means. He reminds mortals that disease and death are forces beyond control, shaping history and fate through silent, unseen mechanisms. In the grand scheme of Daedric princes, Periate represents the unavoidable decay inherent in all things, a reminder that even gods can govern the natural order of endings and beginnings. His subtle but far-reaching influence is a key part of the Elder Scrolls mythos, demonstrating that not all threats come with fire and fury, some come with quiet, creeping death. This makes Periate one of the most dangerous in a different way, less noticed but no less powerful in his domain over pestilence and inevitable decay. His presence serves as a warning that mortality is fragile, and that nature itself can be as deadly as any weapon forged by Daedric hands. Next is Clavicus Vile. Clavicus Vile is the Daedric Prince of Bargains, a being who thrives on making deals that always seem too good to be true. His power lies in his cunning ability to lure mortals into contracts that serve his own dark designs, while mortals think they are gaining wealth, power, or knowledge. Throughout Tamriel, tales warn of making bargains with Clavicus Vile, because his deals often come with hidden costs, binding souls and lives to fates far worse than what was promised. Unlike some Daedric princes who use force or fear to get their way, Clavicus Vile relies on deception, persuasion, and trickery. He crafts his bargains carefully, with fine print that mortals rarely read until it is too late. His realm, known as the Fields of Regret, is a place where endless negotiations unfold, and mortals are trapped in cycles of promise and betrayal. It is a strange land, filled with twisted trees and strange spirits, reflecting the nature of its master who thrives on broken trust and manipulated hopes. Accompanying him is Barbas, a shape-shifting dog-like companion who acts both as guide and agent of Clavicus Vile's will. Barbas often appears to mortals, either aiding or misleading them, depending on how the bargain serves his master's goals. Clavicus Vile's artifacts, like the Mask of Clavicus Vile and the Rueful Axe, are items of great power, but always come with curses or unforeseen consequences, perfectly embodying the risk of dealings with him. These items have appeared in many parts of Tamriel, always tempting mortals with promises of might and protection, only to twist their fates in tragic ways. Mortals who seek Clavicus Vile's favor are often desperate or greedy, blinded by ambition. They fail to see that while he may grant their wishes, they do so at a cost that can shatter their lives and souls. The bargains made with him rarely turn out as mortals expect, and once caught, escape is difficult or impossible. His influence extends into mortal affairs in subtle ways, spreading greed, mistrust, and conflict without ever wielding a sword. Instead, he manipulates through words, contracts, and promises, turning friends into enemies and allies into pawns. Clavicus Vila's role in the Daedric hierarchy is unique because he seldom appears in open war or direct confrontation. Instead, he works in shadows and whispers, using mortals as his instruments to further his aims. His schemes are often slow-moving but deeply effective, causing kingdoms to crumble from within through betrayal and broken promises. Unlike more violent princes like Meuns Deeon or Moolagbal, Clavicus Vile's danger lies in his subtlety. His bargains can corrupt from the inside, spreading chaos through trust and faith betrayed. Many mortals who make deals with him think they are clever or fortunate, but his true power is in outwitting his victims. The stories of those who have bargained with Clavicus Vile are filled with tragedy, where sudden reversals of fortune, curses, and endless regret follow supposed gains. These tales serve as warnings throughout Tamriel about the true cost of making deals with Daedra. In some legends, Clavicus Vile is portrayed with a mischievous grin, offering aid in moments of need, but always with a catch. His charm is undeniable, which makes him all the more dangerous since mortals are drawn to him, despite knowing the risks. His presence in Tamriel's myths highlights the danger of temptation and the peril of giving away one's freedom for momentary gain. Some scholars believe Clavicus Vile's power grows with every bargain made, feeding on the souls ensnared by his contracts. The cycle of bargain, gain, and loss continues endlessly in his realm and beyond. Clavicus Vile's manipulations affect mortals in ways that often go unnoticed until the damage is done, making him a constant, if quiet, threat to order and peace. His influence is felt in political intrigues, betrayals, and the downfall of heroes who underestimated the price of their wishes. Even when he is not directly involved, his presence lingers in the aftermath of deals and broken oaths. In the wider world, Clavicus Vile represents the dangers of ambition, unchecked by wisdom, and the perilous nature of promises made without full understanding. His bargains serve as grim reminders that power always comes with a price, and that not all gifts are truly gifts. In some ways, Clavicus Vile is the embodiment of temptation itself, forever tempting mortals with easy paths that lead to ruin. His realm, companions, artifacts, and stories all echo this theme of peril, wrapped in charm and opportunity disguised as fortune. Among the Daedric princes, Clavicus Vile's threat is not in open war, but in the countless lives and souls ensnared by his bargains, often without them realizing until it is far too late. He is a master of words, contracts, and manipulation, shaping events across Tamriel with deals that twist fate and bind destiny. His legacy is one of broken promises, enslavement through choice, and the slow unraveling of those who seek power at any cost. Clavicus Vile's place in the lore of Elder Scrolls is a powerful, cautionary tale about the dangers lurking in desire and the price of deals struck in shadows. His story warns mortals that some bargains should never be made and that the charm of Clavicus Vile hides a heart of chains and traps. He is one of the most dangerous Daedric princes, not because of brute force, but because of the slow and certain destruction wrought through cunning and deceit. His role in Tamriel's history and myths underscores the eternal tension between freedom and control, trust and betrayal, power and loss. Mortals who meet Clavicus Vile often find themselves caught in webs they cannot escape, a fate far worse than any battle or curse. Next is Nocturnal. Nocturnal is the Daedric Prince of Shadows, closely linked to darkness, luck, and fate. Unlike some Daedric princes who act with open violence or chaos, Nocturnal's power is subtle and operates behind the scenes. She controls the unseen forces that influence chance and fortune, shaping the paths of mortals quietly but profoundly. Her realm, the Evergloam, is a shadowy place where darkness never fades and secrets are kept hidden. This realm reflects her domain over the night, mystery, and the unknown. Nocturnal's influence is felt most strongly by those who move in the shadows, thieves, spies, and those who rely on luck and stealth. The Nightingales, a secretive order devoted to Nocturnal, embody her ideals. They serve as her agents in Tamriel's cities, carrying out tasks that require discretion and subtlety rather than force. Their loyalty to her is absolute, and they gain powers that allow them to manipulate shadows and evade detection. Nocturnal's artifacts, especially the skeleton key, are symbols of her dominion over locks and barriers, physical and metaphorical. The skeleton key is a powerful tool that grants the wielder the ability to open any lock without breaking it, symbolizing opportunity and the unlocking of secrets. Mortals who seek Nocturnal's favor often do so to gain luck in dangerous situations or to find their way through difficult and secretive paths. She is neither cruel nor kind but impartial, guiding fate in ways mortals cannot always understand. Nocturnal influences events by twisting chance, sometimes favoring one person while dooming another, all according to the hidden design of fate. This makes her dangerous in a different way than princes like Moolagbal or Meuns Deeon. She doesn't directly destroy kingdoms or enslave souls, but her control over luck and fate can determine who lives, who dies, and who rises to power. Her subtle manipulations can change the course of history without anyone realizing it. Nocturnal is often connected to the mysterious aspects of life and death, serving as a guardian of secrets that mortals are not meant to know. Her worshippers believe she controls the boundary between life and the afterlife, and her influence is sometimes sought to evade death or uncover hidden truths. The cult of Nocturnal is small but influential, with members operating from the shadows. They respect the delicate balance of fate and do not seek open conflict. Instead, they work through careful planning, manipulation, and stealth. Nocturnal's myths include stories where she tests mortals through challenges that require cleverness and patience. She rewards those who can navigate her shadowy world and punishes those who disrespect her. Her presence in Tamriel's history is subtle but constant, acting as a force that shapes outcomes quietly. Nocturnal's power is often misunderstood because it is not flashy or violent. She represents a form of control that is as important as raw strength, the ability to influence fate and the unseen currents that guide the world. Her influence extends to all who rely on luck or who must move unseen, from common thieves to powerful secret societies. Nocturnal reminds mortals that sometimes the most important power is hidden, and that shadows can be as strong as steel. Her role in Elder Scrolls lore is essential for understanding the balance of forces that shape Tamriel, showing that danger can come not only from fire and sword, but also from what lurks in the dark and unknown. She is a guardian of the night, and the mysteries it holds, influencing the course of mortal lives with a quiet but unyielding hand. Nocturnal's story is one of mystery, control, and the unseen, making her one of the most intriguing and dangerous Daedric princes. Her subtle influence is felt in the luck of mortals, the secrets they keep and the shadows they walk through. Her realm and worship emphasize the importance of shadows, secrets, and fate in the world. Nocturnal is a force that shapes history not through brute force, but through the delicate manipulation of chance and hidden knowledge. She represents the darker side of power, where control comes from what is not seen rather than what is shown. Mortals who make pacts with Nocturnal gain access to powers that let them slip through danger, but they also risk becoming lost in darkness. Her relationship with mortals is complex. She grants favors, but expects respect and understanding of the hidden paths she controls. Nocturnal's legacy is woven through the tales of thieves, spies, and secret keepers across Tamriel. She embodies the idea that shadows are not just absence of light, but a place of power and possibility. Her story shows how influence and danger can be silent, shaping the world in ways that are hard to predict but always real. In this way, Nocturnal stands as a unique Daedric Prince whose danger comes not from overt destruction, but from the subtle control of fate, luck, and secrecy. She is a reminder that some of the greatest powers are those that operate unseen, and that the shadows themselves can be a place of strength. And lastly, we have Jiggalag. Jiggalag is the Daedric Prince of Order, a being whose nature is pure structure, law, and absolute control. Unlike his fellow princes who revel in chaos or destruction, Jiggalag's power lies in strict rules and unwavering patterns. When he is free, he threatens to impose a harsh, unbending order on all existence, wiping out chance, freedom, and unpredictability. His influence could mean the end of choice, creativity, and change across reality. This extreme order would leave no space for individuality, or the randomness that makes life interesting. The other Daedric princes feared this power and cursed Jiggalag, transforming him into Shiogath, the Prince of Madness. This curse forces him to live as chaos incarnate for a time, limiting his ability to impose order. Every so often, during the Grey March, Jiggalag briefly breaks free and tries to reclaim his dominion over the Shivering Isles, enforcing strict law and order. This cycle of destruction and rebirth keeps the balance between order and chaos intact in the mortal world. Jiggalag's realm, unlike the chaotic planes of others, is said to be a place of perfect symmetry and design, cold and precise. His power touches on the very fabric of reality, threatening to freeze everything in place under rigid rules. While other princes tempt mortals or wage open war, Jiggalag's danger is more abstract but no less profound. The loss of chaos means a loss of freedom and diversity, a static world without change or surprise. His nature forces a confrontation with the question of whether absolute order is a blessing or a curse. Despite this, Jiggalag is rarely worshipped by mortals, as his ideals are too harsh and unyielding for most to embrace. Instead, he remains a figure of cosmic balance, forced into madness to protect the wider multiverse from his unchecked order. This makes him unique among Daedric princes, as his curse and transformation highlight the delicate tension between extremes. Jiggalag's story is central to understanding the duality of order and chaos, showing how too much of either can threaten existence itself. His influence reminds mortals that the world depends on a balance of forces, where neither absolute order nor total chaos can dominate. Jiggalag is a force that could reshape reality entirely, imposing a rule where every action, thought, and event is predetermined and unchangeable. In this way, his power challenges the very idea of free will and creativity. His brief moments of freedom, like during the Grey March, bring fear to all realms, as his return threatens to undo the variety and unpredictability of life. The cyclical battle between Jiggalag and Shiogath also reflects the eternal struggle between control and freedom, law and madness. Jiggalag's legacy is a cautionary tale about extremes and the need for balance in the universe. His place among the Daedric princes is a reminder that power can take many forms, sometimes subtle, sometimes overwhelming, but always impactful. His curse and existence as Shiogath blur the lines between madness and order, showing the complexity of cosmic forces in the Elder Scrolls. This makes Jiggalag a unique and dangerous figure, whose influence extends far beyond the usual conflicts of gods and mortals. His story ties deeply into the themes of control, freedom, and the very nature of reality itself. As a Daedric prince, Jiggalag's threat is not just physical destruction, but the erasure of possibility, choice, and change. His presence in the lore is a reminder that the universe must contain room for chaos as much as order to survive. This balance is fragile, and Jiggalag's power is a constant pressure on that balance, threatening to tip it toward a rigid and lifeless order. Understanding Jiggalag helps in grasping the larger cosmic battles playing out beyond mortal sight. It also shows how even the gods themselves are bound by rules, curses, and the need for equilibrium. Jiggalag's existence, as both a great threat and a victim of his curse, makes him one of the most complex Daedric princes. His story enriches the lore by adding depth to the ongoing conflict between competing cosmic forces. Through Jigalag, players see a different kind of danger, one that is intellectual, existential, and all-encompassing. His role in the Elder Scrolls world is essential for the tension that drives much of the mythology. As a figure of order turned madness and back, Jigalag embodies the struggle to maintain balance in an unpredictable universe. First, we talked about Moolagbal, and I'm gonna put him in S tier because his goal to enslave all mortals and pull Nirn into Cold Harbor threatens the entire world. Then we covered Meuns Deeon, and I'm putting him in S tier too because his Oblivion Crisis nearly destroyed Tamriel, and his power is massive. After that, we talked about Botheia, and I'm putting Botheia in A tier because, while dangerous through treachery and plots, Botheia doesn't cause destruction on the same scale as Daedric or Moolagbal. Next was Mfala, and I'm placing Mfala in A tier because her webs of lies can ruin kingdoms, but she stays hidden and subtle. Shiogath came after that, and I'm putting him in S tier because his madness threatens whole realms and even reality itself during the Grey March. Then we talked about Vermina, and I'm putting her in B tier because she spreads terror through nightmares, but doesn't destroy on a large scale. After that, we had Clavicus Vile, and I'm placing him in B tier because his danger comes from his deals, which can ruin lives but not the world. Then came Hermes Mora, and I'm putting him in A tier because his secrets can change the fate of nations or break minds. Malikath is going into C tier because his danger is focused on those who wrong his followers, not the world at large. Meridia is in C tier too because she's only really dangerous to the undead and necromancers. Azura I'm putting in B tier because she can change whole peoples like with the Chimer, but doesn't seek wide destruction. Nocturnal goes in C tier because she's subtle, and her danger is more about fate and luck than large-scale harm. Hercen is C tier because he's focused on the hunt and doesn't threaten the world. Namira I'm placing in B tier because her corruption spreads decay, but it's not as fast or large as others. Sanguin goes in C tier because his danger is mostly to individuals through vice. Perate is B tier because his plagues can spread death, but he's often overlooked. Finally, Jigalag I'm putting in S tier because his return could wipe out all choice and chaos, remaking reality in rigid order. And that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you tomorrow.